Hello, and welcome to the Dynamic Man Experience, a podcast dedicated to men who want to become the 10.0 version of themselves through mastering the three key relationships of mindset, money, and the many people in their lives, creating long lasting, deep connections and trusted bonds for real appreciation and understanding.
You've got your sword, you've got your shield. You're always going to have that. So put it down sometimes,
Okay.
knowing that you can always pick it up. Yeah, I think the biggest obstacle was myself. And I felt like, who was I? Like I'm an imposter. And it was my brother that said, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to do. You just need to know that you don't want to do that thing.
I'm very happy to have Karen Elliott of Leads with Purpose here on the show today. I'm always fascinated to meet people from Saskatoon in Saskatchewan, the plains of Canada. And everyone I've met from this part of the world has been super generous, really interesting, and they love a bit of crack. They love to have fun. But just like Karen Elliott, leadership business coach and consultant, you know, the hardest and the harshest environments really motivates you to succeed in so many things, in so many ways. And we're going to have a fantastic chat because she has been through so much and still believes that it's the best time ever to be a woman. So let's get into it. Karen is a fun loving, serious business owner with really strong designs and belief that she is growing into the better version of herself every single day. And she has made incredible sacrifices to make that happen. So let's get into it. East meets West. Hello, Karen. How are you?
I'm
Karen,
good, Neil. How are you?
Karen Elliott. Lead with purpose. I love that name. Really narrows it down, doesn't it?
Really does. And that's really what it's all about is living your purpose and then leading your life by your purpose.
Excellent. Excellent. How did you get into this line of work? Business coaching and consulting.
Yeah. Well, I was actually I'm a physiotherapist. That's
Right.
what I went to school for. And then I opened my own practice in 2004 and grew that from basically myself as a solopreneur in a 250 square foot room
Wow.
and didn't know what I was doing. But really my purpose of doing that was around that I needed freedom of time to be able to be a mom.
You're a physical therapist, yeah?
Yeah,
Starting with a
yeah.
250 square foot room. Wow.
Yes, yes. So I was the physio, I was the receptionist, sometimes I was the plumber, sometimes I was wore all the hats, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted freedom of my time. My whole purpose, I needed freedom of time. I had three kids that I had twins and 18 months is the older one. So I had, three kids at that time under five. So I didn't want to have to be asking for time off and things. I just wanted to be able to work around their schedule. So that was the purpose of me doing that at the time. And I wanted to kind of run the business how I thought it should be run. I was very big on exercise and wanted to be in the gym. So that's kind of how I started. My whole why was really about freedom of time to have control over my schedule and where my time was spent. And then throughout the years, that clinic grew and I moved to a new location. And then eventually I had two locations. One was 7,000 square feet, one was 4,000 square feet, over 35 staff. Early on, the co-owner, who's now my ex-husband, came on. So we ran the practice. I ended up running the business. One of us had to. So at that time, I did not even know really how to run a business at all. So I was building the plane as I was flying it and figuring it out and making mistakes. And along there, I think I lost my purpose somewhat. I forgot who I was and what I really wanted out of my life.
Yeah.
So I had to revisit it then. And I think that's when I started to realize sometimes your purpose changes, but you got to identify what that is now in this season of life and how you want to show up and how you want to lead with that new purpose. So then I sold my shares in the practice in March of 2023. I started to get coaching myself and it made a massive impact. And I felt this calling that I wanted to make a bigger impact and difference in the world. And I felt I could do that by coaching other business owners to try to make their journey a little bit less rocky than mine, knowing what I knew and how to run a business with the systems, the people, the culture. And so I walked out the door and end of March of 2023 and opened my new business, Lead with Purpose. And now I work with all sorts of mostly clinic owners in the area of physiotherapy, chiropractic, massage across Canada and some into the US as well. And I'm coaching and consulting and loving it.
Guys, in the whole history of mankind, there has never, ever been a better time to be a man than right now. I really believe that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm so passionate about the work. So if you feel, if you think, if you believe that it's your turn, it is. It really is. So you got to rise and accept the challenge. That's why I'm here. If that's something that really resonates with you, well then we should talk. Click on my link in the bio and book a chat. Let's get on it.
About what part of your mess was the message?
The part of my mess that was the message really was, well, there's several messes to be honest, but what I didn't realize is the thing that I was actually really good at. And I was trying to do all the things that I wasn't good at, wearing all the hats, feeling a lot of shame and guilt because I wasn't good at everything. And I didn't really know what my geniuses were until I started stepping back from my practice and having to, work with people, set up processes, learning how to communicate. I was a terrible communicator and I had to learn how to navigate conflict and how to influence people. And I realized I had a real, niche and I was actually really good at that. And so by default, I just started to grow my team and I worked on growing. I wanted a team full of leaders. So I worked on growing a lot of my team into leaders that were managers and directors. And I was able to influence the practice a lot more when I was in that role than I was as a clinician. I was a
Right,
pretty good clinician, but I didn't love it. But I
right,
loved working with people and just seeing them kind of step into their own abilities that they didn't even know they had.
right. So you're kind of enabling the people that really have a passion or vocation for the work to be even better.
Yeah, and I think I read every book I could when I was trying to learn business, and I did a lot of courses in communication and really got some skills. And so I would teach them how to communicate, how to navigate, conflict, how to solve their own problems. So I would teach them those skills and then coach them through it.
And what was the biggest obstacle you faced, like in passing on that knowledge and that wisdom to people? Sounds like you really kind of instilled belief in them, yeah?
I did. I think the biggest obstacle was myself. And I felt like, who was I? Like, I'm an imposter. I had imposter syndrome. I wasn't an expert. Like, how am I going to, how are they going to believe me that I know what I'm talking about? And so a lot of it was me and my limiting beliefs that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't know what I was doing when I really did. So I had to overcome that a lot, and I think with that, that's where I just really did discover vulnerability, and that became my strength. As soon as I realized by being vulnerable, I could let down the guard and simply say to my staff, "You know what? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but you know what? I'm gonna find out for you."
Okay.
So that became one of my strengths was the ability to be vulnerable and either say, I don't know, or you know what, I dropped the ball, made a mistake, I'll own it. Let's fix it, learn from it, move on.
Can you remember the exact moment when that you got that epiphany?
I think it was the moment where my business partner and I decided that one of us needed to run the business. And I remember sitting in my office every day thinking, you know what, somebody's going to tap me on the shoulder today and say, you know what, gig's up. You don't know what you're doing. Or my staff's going to find out. So I thought, I'm going to take a gamble. And we had a staff meeting. and we were going to announce that I was going to step back from treating and I was going to run the business and work more on it. So I started that staff meeting, which I don't know where I got the courage from, but I simply said, I want to start by saying, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I want you to know that, and it's kind of risky. They're like,
Yeah.
you're the business owner. I said, I don't really know what I'm doing in running a business, but I'm committed to learning how to do it. I'm going to work with a mentor. I'm going to do the best that I can to create the best physiotherapy practice with really great people, really great, processes so that everybody wants to work here. That's my commitment.
Wow. And the
And
response was,
it was fantastic. People were like, it was almost a relief
okay.
for them to hear that, but I was very committed to it. And after that, like that point, we were 3,000 square feet, and then we blew up and expanded so much we had to move the space again. Like the business just grew, to be honest, after I said that.
That is so powerful, really, isn't it? It must have taken so much anxiety off your shoulders, but also like everyone else worrying about their jobs, and suddenly it's like,
Yeah.
all that is gone.
Yeah. And that was my fear. People are like, well, if she doesn't know what she's doing, like, am I safe? And I said, everything is, everybody's got a job, but I'm not running the business as best as it could be. It's chaotic right now. There's confusion. I'm going to figure it out. That's why I'm dedicated to working on the business to make it a better place. So,
And the response was obviously like 1,000%.
yeah, I knew I had to prove it. Like words are only words, right? So I
Yeah.
needed to show them. And so I really worked hard at showing them that I was serious and started to get more structure in place. The chaos started to go down, the culture went up. And then I knew that they trusted me and there was 100% buy-in because I showed them.
Okay, so that takes remarkable intuition, I suppose, instinct, awareness, you know.
Yeah.
Some would even say emotional intelligence, but like, how did that transmit to the others? I mean, what did that do for their emotional intelligence?
I think it was interesting and I didn't see this part coming. They actually started to come to me more.
Right.
Like they were, which I didn't know, they were intimidated by me before because I walked around as this strong woman that I,
Right.
looked like I had it all together, knew what I was doing, and I didn't want anyone to see that I didn't. Where on the inside, I'm like, paddling like a duck a million miles
Ah,
an
yeah.
hour trying to keep my
Yeah.
head above water.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they were intimidated by me. But as soon as I said that, I think they realized that I'm a person too. And they started to actually come to me with questions and we would have better conversations
Find
because
solution.
because of that vulnerability.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did any of them say anything to you about like the power of that vulnerability?
Yeah. I had one person say, you know, you always look like you know what you're doing. We've never doubted you for a minute, but now I feel like you're approachable
Right.
because you're just like us. You know what I mean? Because they don't know, like as a new practitioner, you don't know what you're doing with patients all the time.
Right.
So I think it gave them almost like oh, okay. It's okay for me to say I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like when we talk about emotional intelligence, like us guys, maybe emotion is kind of like a dirty word, isn't it? It can be,
Yeah.
but when we don't describe the emotion, like we get a bit angry, we're fine, and there's all
Mhm.
this in between, kind of whatever all that is. We try to just jump the bridge from like angry to fine. Okay, just let me be. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't like to look at the river of emotions, really. But like when
Yeah.
it comes to women, like you feel women struggle with the same issues
Mhm.
guys do when it comes to emotions.
I do. I think we equally stress, especially if you're a woman that is in business, you're in maybe a powerful position, you're a leader. I think we feel like we can't show emotion because it means we're weak. We're not strong enough and people won't respect us.
Right,
Yeah. I think that's really common that if we don't put on this, like, I'm invincible and fine, as I used to call feelings internalized, never expressed, is the definition of.
right, right, right. That's a big word in Ireland. That's a huge word in Ireland. How are you doing? How are you getting on?
Yeah. Yeah. I use that word so much. I've had to get rid of it because it was a mechanism to say I'm really not fine, but I'm gonna say I'm fine because I don't want you to see that I'm weak.
Yeah, I'm barely clinging on.
To be your leader, right? You're supposed to, I'm supposed to be leading you. You're supposed to look up to me. And
Lead with
so
energy.
I do think we struggle with it. I met a
Yeah,
lot of women who have a very hard time. And I think when you're the CEO of the home and the CEO of a business, you got to keep it together because if you fall apart, the home falls apart. If you fall apart at work, people aren't going to respect you. So you come across as this,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, obviously for guys, we do struggle with I think sometimes it's the terminology,
yeah,
emotions, vulnerability. When vulnerability is that we've been through some experiences, not all of them have gone well. This is what happened then. Yeah, maybe I messed up, but you know, this is how I recovered. This is what I
yeah,
had to do.
yeah,
Dig deep or whatever, and I'll deal with I'll deal with the fallout later, or maybe not.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, it's ingrained in us really just to keep going, grinning,
I do think that plays into it, if I could just add to that, like growing up, like it wasn't okay to cry. Like, why are you crying? Just be happy. Stop crying. There's nothing to cry about. Right. So I got that too as a young girl.
it's amazing how sensitive we are as kids to sentences that last a lifetime. Sticks and stones don't break my bones, but words, and like even raising your voice has such an impact down the road, like, decades later, and you're still living by that kind of.
Yeah.
It's amazing, when we think about it, like the amount of information we have now about the mind and the unconscious
Yes.
mind and all the geniuses that have been exploring it, and like here we are, all thinking the same thing. Well, we're not a genius, so like why even try?
Yeah. So true.
Like
Yeah.
we're all geniuses. We're just kind of we've been Dan Martell goes on about books a lot, like, but we've read so many books that have like put us on the wrong path.
Yes. Yeah. 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 And I think, so much of it is limiting beliefs and things that we were told, like who told you that?
You don't even
And you,
know. We don't. And
yeah.
it's like, so much of it is, I mean, I was listening to an Irish musician talking about genetic sadness, like being handed down over the last century and a half, right from the famine days, and then just from one generation to the next about like things like asthma. Oh, you can't go out because you might die,
Yeah.
kind of thing. We are like that's 150 years of limiting beliefs passed down implicitly, not even
Mhm.
expressed. It's just like you will
Yeah.
understand this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
powerful.
it's so interesting because you almost feel like you carry that, weighted backpack around that you feel
Yeah,
you're only kind of half a person. And then you start shedding this and becoming vulnerable, and you don't even know what to do with that because it's uncomfortable.
yeah,
Then you put your backpack back on, right?
yeah.
Or you pull out, I remember a counselor of mine said, she said, Karen, you've got your sword, you've got your shield. You're always going to have that. So put it down sometimes,
Yeah.
knowing that you can always pick it up. And I was like, oh, I don't have to have it all the time where I'm like, okay, let's
Right.
go. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So like,
I actually use that because I go into the default where I'm like, nope, I got to put up the walls, be strong, don't let anybody in. I'm like, no, put it down. You do not need the sword and the shield right now. You can be vulnerable and open and share your experiences.
and do you find that you need the sword and the shield a whole lot less now that you're coaching and consulting?
Yeah, I think it's the most authentic and unapologetically myself I've ever been. And I'm 53. It's taken me this long to get there, but I also had to shed some beliefs, but I also had to shed some people in my life
It's very
that
interesting.
were, yeah, that were really holding me back. And, I'm divorced, and that was one of the decisions I had to make because I wasn't going to be able to be who I knew I could be if I stayed.
How long were you married?
23.
That's quite the jump into the deep end, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, got divorced, and then that was 2020, and 2023 I left my business. So two huge decisions, but I knew if I stayed, I would never be who I thought I could really be.
And did you have a picture in your mind about like who and where and what you were going to be?
Yeah, and I got to experience it. It was an event I was asked to speak at. It was in Toronto, and it was called a Clinic Accelerator Clinic Boss Summit. So it was put on for a lot of clinics, and I got coaching from them, and I was helping at that point, and they asked me to do 4 sessions. And I'd been a guest on a stage, but never been the primary presenter. And there's about 350 people there. And I had 4 sessions, and I didn't even realize until 2 minutes before that I'm going to be on the stage by myself. And it just hit me like, what am I doing? I've never done this. And something happened. I remember I actually phoned my son because he's a performer. So he's been the national tour of Cats. And so he's been on the big stages. And I said, how do you do this? You love performing. Like, how do I get on the stage? He said, Mom, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get on the stage. Don't think about it. I was like, okay. So I just got, and then I don't remember a thing. And I just felt like I was outside of my body.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, I think this is who I'm supposed to be. And I thought I need to do more of this. I had so many people that said to me, what you said or what you talked about and how vulnerable you were completely changed my life in that talk or whatever. And I thought I have to make a bigger impact. So the week I got back, I went in and I said, I'm done. I'm selling my shares and I'm exiting.
Whoa, brilliant. Did
It
you
was unbelievable.
did you feel like when you were doing that talk that you only had an audience of one yourself?
Yes. Neil, I cannot remember a thing of those talks.
Right.
It was like I was out of my body and that I was just, I don't even know I didn't even look at the audience. I just was up there doing my thing.
Wow.
It was crazy. So
That
that's
is
when I knew that was my moment.
that's an incredible moment, isn't it?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And then
I I
next week I
I
left my
think I
company.
got the tingles to that one.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Just looking at yourself, knowing that there was something, but you didn't quite picture it, and then it just happened
Mhm.
in front of your eyes, and you're like, whoa. But you
Yeah.
put yourself in that position.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a believer in the universe puts you in places, spaces in front of faces that you need to be in. And I
Yeah.
think that was a purpose that I didn't even realize I needed.
And how important was like the energy that you brought, that you were feeling at that point in your life? You were a week away from exiting. You didn't even
Yeah.
know this yet, but like, what energy were you vibing, I suppose, when you were in that moment, you know?
I think it was almost like I've got nothing to lose. Like I'm just gonna go for it and I'm just gonna be me. And I think I'd gone through a divorce and at that time, I was still working with, my ex-husband and we ran the business. It was okay, but I had to change who I was every time I went in to a meeting. And I made the decision I'm not bringing that person to this conference. She's staying home and I'm bringing this person.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So like there was an inkling that there was something afoot.
Yeah. It was almost like, taking a new car for a test drive. It was kind of like that. Like, I'm just going to take this me for a test drive and see what happens.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that. That's a great image.
Yeah.
Supercar, yeah. Sounds like a McLaren mindset.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and like when you approached the business then and said, "Look, I'm out," was there a moment of like recognition that, oh my God, she's going to do this?
I think probably a bit. I think more of my staff was surprised. I mean, the other, the co-owner was my ex-husband. So I think, maybe it was a relief. I don't know.
Yeah. And like when it came, like that is a that's a double-barreled um
Yeah.
relationship there with your business, which you grew, and your
Hmm.
ex,
Hmm.
which you had how many kids?
3.
3 kids. All right. So like when you were at that juncture, like,
Hmm.
and comparing, say, like the level of, just say, for you, emotional intelligence, for him, say, mental discipline, like, could you give us an idea of where it was on both sides?
I think um, I remember very vividly being in a meeting, which we met every week and sitting in the room. And I almost felt peace because I knew I needed to make the decision. And I think maybe it was peace for him too. Like, it's not overly comfortable when, so I actually remember just feeling a very peaceful feeling and just saying, I think I'm done. It's time for me to go. I feel I can make a bigger difference and an impact if I leave the business and help more in the way of coaching and consulting. And I think you'll be happier. I'll be happier. I was worried a lot about the team and the staff because I ran the business. He still was doing a lot of clinical treating and he's an excellent therapist.
Right.
And it was kind of my baby. Like I started it
Yeah, yeah.
and it was what I knew. So it was scary, but there's those 2 times where I decided that I needed to leave my marriage and leave my business were the 2 first time decisions where I made it because of me, where I put myself first,
Yeah.
whereas I usually waited till I was backed into a corner and then I had to decide.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so like you actually did lead with purpose.
I did. Yeah. I
That's
chose myself and what I knew my purpose was, and it wasn't aligning where I stayed and chose me first, which,
take courage.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, it was scary. I mean, I remember though, like deciding, and it was my brother that said, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to do. You just need to know that you don't want to do that thing anymore.
That's brilliant as well, isn't it? Like very insightful.
And you'll figure it out. Yeah. And I did.
Even
Still
better.
figuring. Yeah. But the nice thing is, with this now I have freedom of time. I can work from wherever.
Right.
I work with people I love, doing what I love, making an impact and a difference,
Yeah.
being compensated really well, and I have time and freedom to do other things that I love. That's 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, like, and like you say, you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
Even if you don't succeed, you're already won.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
big victories that you've already won. Like, why would people not want to? Why would people not recognize that energy? Like the way you kind of recognize it yourself. Like, were you like when you were going through this phase of transition? Like, who were you talking to? Did you have any mentor or?
Yeah, I had a mentor who was probably my first business coach. His name was Doug, and he was a client of mine, and we got on well. And he owned multiple businesses in Saskatoon. So he was a well known business owner in the community. And so he knew how to run a business. So I asked him if he would be my business mentor because I needed to learn how to run the business. And he said, sure. So we met for coffee, and he said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want from your life?
Right.
And I said, "What?" I said, aren't you going to tell me the steps to how to run a business? Like, isn't that why we're meeting?" He
Yeah.
said, "You need to be really clear on what you want out of life first, and then we'll work on the business." Couldn't answer him. Could not answer.
Okay.
So he said, "You go away, and I want you to think about it. And when you're ready, we'll meet again." And he was the first person that saw me and saw my potential because he knew that I wasn't leveling up to who I could be. I was playing very small. I was a bit of a mouse. I was letting other people surpass me and taking a back seat.
Right.
And so he's the first person to see that in me. And then I came back and he helped me change my personal life. And then he helped me become a business owner. And I think from that point forward, I just continued to grow and grow and grow.
Isn't it amazing that that question is so confusing for a lot of us? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
want? We can't even decide what we want for our birthday or for
Yeah.
Christmas. The mind for
I
life.
know. Yeah. It's funny. I remember answering. I said, well, like I'm a mom, I'm a business. I said, I know you're all those things, but what do you want your best life to look like? Describe it. It
Right.
was hard. It was hard, but it was necessary. And then I realized too that I needed to be really clear on what I wanted my personal life and happiness to be. And then the business had to fit that
Right.
versus the other way around. I was trying to fit and
Okay.
basically abandoning myself and my personal life for the business.
Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't exercising. I was on, medications. I wasn't, hanging out with friends. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting at home waiting for somebody to come and save me, essentially.
Isn't it amazing though, like that there is always someone in your environment that can make such a difference.
Yeah, it does. And I think it takes that one person. And he asked me that one question. And it changed my life.
But also, like you asked him first.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that took some courage also, Karen, didn't it? Like to admit that your business that looks so successful, you just hadn't a clue what was going on.
Mhm.
And he jumped right in without even like a second thought.
Nope. I didn't even care that I didn't know to I mean, he was a client there. So,
Yeah,
because he's been there. Like he said, I've been there. Do
yeah.
you think I knew what I was doing when I opened first business? No. But I knew enough to ask people that had already done it, and I learned from them.
This is the thing, like I suppose what would you call it, like there's probably 5% of the population living their dream lives, the likes of Doug and Dan Martell and all these guys. But look how generous they are with their experience, their time, their knowledge,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
They love.
Yes. And I think when you do that, because I do that now. Like I help a lot of people. Yes, I get paid for it. Some of it I don't. Like I had coffee and conversation with a person yesterday just because she needed a bit of help. But that's what people did for me. And, it's kind of that pay it forward. Because
Mm.
sometimes that one person, I know you probably have a person that was instrumental in changing something. And everybody needs that.
But also on the flip side, there's many people that are doing quite the opposite, So I mean,
Yeah.
there is a need, like you said earlier, to like, get rid of people or fire people, firing friends.
Yeah. I've had to do that
Yeah, yeah.
a lot.
It's incredible how a friend of mine back in Ireland used to have a great phrase. I would say something that was a bit like, he said, come back to us, come back to us, come here, come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you have to fly.
And some people you got to leave on the ground.
You really do, like, and it's not as if you're not going to see them again because, like, they're just going
Yeah.
to be walking the same circles. I was home in Ireland for the first time in 5 years at Christmas, and I've seen people I know all my life, still same haircut, still
Yeah.
shuffling around the place, doing the same old thing. Like,
Yeah.
did you not get the memo? You can go anywhere you want. You can do anything
Yes.
you want.
Yeah.
I'd be fine.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
and grand is another one. There's another one in Ireland. It's kind of the similar as fine. Yeah, it's
It
not
is
too bad.
interesting too, like some of I have one friend I met when I was 14, but my closest friends now, I didn't really meet till in my late 40s, early 50s that
Yeah,
are
yeah,
now
yeah, yeah.
because this is actually who I truly am. And I don't, there was a different version of me because it was, but in that season of my life, but now I'm not there anymore.
Exactly. And like, this is kind of the underappreciated side of social media that you're able to find the people that have like the energy or the same energy, the same kind of drive, the same kind of interest, the
Yeah.
same like we got together near Boston a couple of months ago with maybe 8 people from Dan Martel's group,
Mm.
sat down for dinner in an Uzbekistan restaurant, and no one was drinking, and everyone had, like, just talked their ears off. It was fantastic,
Oh, that's
really
awesome.
cool. So, but like, you're meeting people from, construction, from AI, from
Mhm.
like medical equipment, all angles. Everyone's in the same tribe.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of like, I suppose everyone's on a kind of a similar EQ trajectory. So like emotional intelligence, because when you get to this level, you can't not do the work.
yeah,
You
yeah.
have you have to like you have to kick yourself into gear, Karen. And like it's never ending, is it?
No, and I think, and that's the beauty of it is, there's a lot of layers to shed, and there's a deeper depth that you can get to, and that's growth, right? And then you put yourself in those spaces that enable you to do that and also push you to do that. Otherwise, we would just stay the same. And
Exactly. Like, and the
yeah,
novelty is like,
yeah,
like waking up and wondering, like, what happened today.
yeah,
Great. It's a great feeling, to be able to be that open to, like, um possibilities. Summer
yeah,
is such a great time for possibilities.
yeah,
You're looking up, sun is shining, people are kind of like can't help themselves but be happy.
yeah,
And it really, really, yeah, it's great energy this time of the year.
yeah. It's interesting. Like in the last few years, I even had a friend who I've known for a while, and she introduced me one time, and she said, I'd like to introduce you to my new friend, Karen. I said, I've known you for long. He said, not this Karen. This Karen, I've been waiting to meet for a long time.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
So she saw that in you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've
Wow.
had a lot of people say that. I'm a very different person. Very, very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you get married again, Karen?
I would, yeah, if it was
Do
the
you have
right person, but my standards, Neil, are really, really high. And I also know I'm deserving this time.
I think that's such a like a powerful way to look at it, high standards, if
Yep,
someone, and it's a very, very, very easy metric. You know exactly when someone is meeting your standard. Like,
yep,
it could be like in the first 5 minutes, you're just like, okay, you're gone.
yep,
It could be like 2 or 3 weeks, but they will show that they don't meet the standards, and then it's like, thank you,
yep,
see you later.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm more clear on what I want and the things that are important, and, yeah, I'm just not gonna sacrifice that again. Yeah, yeah,
Um, in Ireland, we have um the most important word is the last word. We fight over it. That's the only thing we fight over these days, so we say. But it really makes you razor sharp. You have to fight for the last word. Anyone who gets the last word, that is like, bragging rights. So,
yeah,
but when everyone is fighting for it, it makes it very, very competitive, very edgy, very witty, very engaging
yeah,
conversation. Always.
yes.
So I'm going to give you the last word, Karen.
You're gonna give me the last word, Neil?
Yeah.
Wow.
What would you like to leave us with today?
I would like to really encourage whoever listening to this to really just listen to what your intuition is telling you, get curious about things that come up, as well as listen to the universe, because a lot of times the universe is going to point you in a direction or away from a direction, and just get curious on what that is and how that aligns with your purpose, and step into it, go for it. Yeah.
All the way.
Yes.
Excellent, Karen. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you
It's been
so
such a
much.
pleasure talking to you again.
Oh, what a great conversation. I felt like we were at the pub or something. This was so great.
It's my
One
round.
day. Yes.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
Yeah, we'll
We'll
meet in
have to
person.
have a an AI summit in Ireland someday.
Yeah, That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd love to come to Ireland. Never been, so be wonderful.
Yeah, when you bring in this energy, Karen, you're going to have a styling time in Ireland. You laugh and you dance all the way through
I
Ireland.
love it. I love it.
Cool.
Amazing. Well,
Excellent,
thanks so
Karen.
much, for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure to get to know you better. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be chatting again.
I'm delighted that we got a chance to talk about the equivalency of emotional intelligence as we're continuing to grow and evolve as men and women. It's
Mhm.
obviously like as we mentioned earlier, it's the best time ever to be a woman.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree.
And
Yeah,
also,
I never used to feel, I'm very proud to be a woman. And many years, I don't know if I was.
well, it's different times, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like women have risen to the challenge.
Hmm.
Like the college graduates in the States now is more like 60-40 in favor of women.
Yeah.
So like that's
Yeah.
a huge change in like 40 years, whatever it is.
Yes.
But like you've risen to the challenge. You're starting your own businesses, you're like overcoming limiting beliefs, you all this putting it all
Hmm.
together, like tapping into your probably more advanced emotional intelligence
Hmm.
and just like overcoming challenges that men don't face, in the workplace,
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
coaching, consulting, and just having that credibility.
Hmm.
I would say also it's the best time in history to be a man. We just have to decide what kind of a man we want to be. Do we want to be
Yes.
crawling on our knees? Do we still want to be the caveman where emotional intelligence is like flatlining as it
Yeah.
has for most of history? But
Mhm.
with the advent of AI, we have to like get our shit together as men.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take up the challenge, because
Yeah.
yeah, women are being tough on men right now,
Hmm.
but if
Yeah.
we rise to the challenge,
Yeah.
like that is worth it. I think that
Yes.
it's like we have to just accept that the challenge is like worthwhile.
Yeah. And I think it's also just, doesn't have to be one or the other. That's the thing. It's like, if I'm this, I can't be that. If
Yeah,
I'm vulnerable, then I can't be that. But you can have the dual reality. You can be both. You
yeah.
can be a strong masculine man and have emotional intelligence and be you can do both. You don't have to do one or the other.
No, you're right. And like for me, it's like we have converted a train track into a carousel in our heads. So
Yeah.
instead of letting shit out, we just keep it looping. And
Yeah.
then people say to you, "What are you thinking?" "Oh, nothing." And you're like, "Same old shit as yesterday,
Yeah.
and the day before, and the day before." My head is
Yeah.
right. My head is
Yeah.
spinning. Like you see how guys, when they let it out, it's not
Yes.
vulnerability. It's just like exit stage left. Let it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think it's like? It's carrying that backpack of absolute like rubbish.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So
I still work on that too.
yeah, we do. There's plenty of work to do for
Yeah.
everyone, but it's accepting that like that novelty comes from discipline,
Yes.
and all good things actually come from discipline. But it's just getting getting to the point where you can step out of bed in the morning with a smile. You don't have to jump out of bed. You can just step out of bed, nice and
Yeah.
happy, and go about your day.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Well, I commend you and applaud you for stepping into this space and talking about these things and working with men. And I think that I really, really applaud you for doing that. I think it's really needed.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. On
You're
behalf of
welcome.
a woman who's looking for a man, thank you.
Not just any man,
So only send me the good ones, Neil.
of course, Taryn. Only the best. I thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay. So you sharing the thing with me?
I will. I'm just going to stop.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
stop. Thank you.
Okay.
Call it what you want. But as guys, there's an exciting challenge to being a man these days. And it doesn't take that much to really stand out. And look, you are not as far away from that from where you want to be as you might think. Not when you can look at it from a different angle and get a better appreciation for the experience that has got you this far. You could call it a psychological cold plunge. It's time to freshen things up. Being a dynamic man. That is the challenge today.